drop. Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, man, woman, and child, I don't think you have a middle name. Jonathan Schaech.
Very good.
The lead
you have a
singer
middle
from
name?
the Oneders.
The Oneders.
Oneders.
Yeah.
By the way,
What?
I said this before, and I know you've done a lot, and it's awesome. It's awesome to call you a friend and stuff, but more importantly, you're a wonder. And that movie alone, I'm sorry if I get too much talking about it and too much crazy over it. Just like give me this signal or anything, because that was, as we were talking yesterday, I said that was. Like, that's music lore now. That's
Before, Chris, we get
almost
into...
famous. That's Spinal Tap.
We've dropped 3 names. The most important name that we dropped already is Johnathon Schaech, and then Chris Kirkpatrick from NSYNC, and Brian McFayden.
Where's your guy that you pay to sit out there and just ding the bell every time somebody says your name?
For some reason, you guys always you get carpal tunnel or something, and your hand just goes limp with my name being said.
Yes.
But welcome to the show, man.
Oh, it's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
We're super excited. I'm a big fan of yours. I've been watching you since Houdini. But I'm even bigger fan because you were in one of my favorite all-time movies, which was Poison Ivy 2.
With Alyssa Milano.
Wait,
Alyssa
why-
Milano.
hold on, what- yeah.
Wait, Alyssa Milano.
Why was that your favorite movie, Brian?
It's just I'm really into the arts. It was a really good movie. God, you got ripped. You're still pretty damn ripped. You got ripped
Back then?
Yeah. Oh my God, you were super ripped back then.
I'm probably
You would
drinking
take
too
more.
much. It was a different time.
No, he is very, very ripped. He's turning. I know that things are crazy for me when everybody I know is giving me their people to lose weight. Like they're like, you have a good nutritionist. I'm like,
What did Jonathan?
Yeah.
Did
Well,
Jonathan
if
ask
you're
you to
getting
work
ready
out?
to go on tour, you definitely.
you're gonna be pulling up by my house. You ready?
come on,
I'm like,
let's go.
yeah, I'm ready.
But that was just a weird thing. It's like you did Poison Ivy 2 in '96, and then you got probably one of the biggest movies ever, which was The
Yeah.
Wonders.
That
thing you do.
Yeah, I remember going to the audition with Alyssa Milano, and my dad dropped me off. He was like, "Go get the job, son." And I did. I got the job.
Yeah.
What was your dad's name?
Joe.
And his mom's
Joe
name is
Schaech.
Joanna.
Joe.
Joe
Right.
and Joanna.
My belt
Oh yeah,
stinks.
just put it right there, and then
Yeah, there you go.
There you go.
There
You,
you
you get used to it after a while.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's good. So your dad dropped you off.
He dropped me off, and then I went in there and had a
Screen
chemistry test.
Yeah.
Back then, and we hit it off, and I got the movie. And it was just a little movie with a French director, and yeah, something happened on the course of filming that. The other actor and Alyssa didn't get along very well, so they changed the whole chemistry of she was much more aggressive with me during the the heated scenes,
Right.
and
You could say there were sex scenes.
yeah, there was a lot of sex.
You had your
scenes.
shirt off. She had her shirt off.
But it was called Lily. So
Lily, yeah.
The movie was called Lily, but then they changed it to make money to Poison Ivy 2. Or at least I didn't know it was going to be Poison Ivy 2 when I got it.
Because Poison Ivy 1 was with Drew Barrymore.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I was trying to figure out. I was like, so originally was not a sequel.
No.
Originally it was a
I didn't know that.
standalone movie.
They did that to me numerous occasions. I did a film that was in the VHS was 8mm 2. But it wasn't 8mm 2 when we shot it. It was Velvet Side of Hell. And next thing I know, 8mm 2, not Nicolas Cage.
Nicolas Cage.
Just I'm always late to the game. But then how did the whole that thing you do come up? I mean, that's Tom Hanks, arguably the greatest actor alive.
Tom Hanks.
Tom Hanks. You have him in your phone.
Yeah.
Can you show us?
No.
Probably under TH
Yeah.
or something.
It's right there, but I wouldn't do it anyways.
Well, it's funny because it's like Chris and I talk about the most famous people we have on our phones.
And I've got some really cool ones, and he's got me. And a lot of people that will never call him back.
But I don't put your name in the phone. I put CK down just to protect you. Then underneath it says NSYNC.
Thank you.
So maybe
Who do
you
you
had to put the names
have?
in
Who
there.
would be the most, besides for Tom? Who would be the most famous person in your phone that?
Fame is, as you
Yes.
know, it's kind of
It's like you. What do you
famous
think?
now or
Yeah.
famous
Doesn't-
overall.
doesn't matter.
Globally famous.
It doesn't matter.
I have a lot of famous people in my phone.
Well, you have a lot of.
But Tom
famous
is so
friends.
famous.
Yeah.
Do you put like him down as Woody on your phone? Like,
Did he ever call your kids
or like Forrest?
as Woody?
No, he does do that. He never.
Does he really?
Yeah, he really does. I was at a like a show backstage, and they just had a baby, the singer that was there, and I don't want to name drop. And
Wait, who is
That's
the
the
singer?
name of the show.
I can't remember who it was.
He's
But
like,
he
"Oh,
went.
name drop."
He did all the voices. He
Ding.
literally did all the voices that he is.
Wow.
You know, this
How
is
did-
Woody? You did it. You know,
You did voice. You did some voice acting? Did you? No, you
not
never
much.
did voice.
I wish I
acting?
could have got into that world, but no.
You've got an original voice. I mean, I got voice acting because of who I was. I figured you could get something for who you are and just go out.
I should be Batman.
Batman.
Yeah, I would love to be Batman.
You know who does the best Batman and doesn't know it? Garth Brooks.
Yeah.
You ever watch him just like when he's just like talking to the camera? He's like, I'm Garth Brooks. But it's kind of a. I had to mention that because I have a friend that's really good friends with him. But
Okay, now can we fast forward? Can we get to the movie?
I know that you want to get to the movie because NSYNC does the best Oneders impression ever. You guys do that thing you do. Which was
What did you think of that? When did you first hear that we were doing that thing you do in our show?
I got a phone call from Gary Getzman. Said, "Hey man, come to the studio." I think the studio. We want you to meet this group that they've been performing that thing you do on in their concert, and we're thinking of making a movie with them or something like that.
Right.
And that's when I first heard that you guys started doing that.
What year was that? Because it was.
But there was no social media. There was no way for us to know
Yeah.
that you were doing it on stage.
Yeah.
Right.
What a different
But it was
world.
a big deal.
Did you guys do it right away? Like, because the band started in '95. That movie came out in '96. So did you guys start doing the cover?
It was probably '97, I think, when we started doing it, and we did a through the years. And as I was telling him, it's when we did it, we were doing '60s, '70s, '80s, and then our song was the '90s. God, that's how old. It's the 20s right now. We're talking about the 90s. We're the new song coming out. But for the 60s, we had a lot of young kids. We could have done a song, but I think it was mostly me pushing. And I was like, why don't we do that? Because I really wanted to play that song and be Steven Zahn up there and just kind of enjoy the moment.
Lenny?
What?
Lenny.
Great characters that
I
you
was
had on
Lenny.
that. You had, okay, so the jazz drummer was
Shades.
Shades.
Tom Everett Scott.
Did you have to do a lot of prep work to be hot, like in the movie, to be the narcissistic lead singer?
No, he did not.
Well, we practiced like 10 weeks together, playing instruments, learning. We didn't know how to play. I didn't know how to play.
So that was actually you singing.
Zahn, it's not me singing. Some parts, it's me singing.
Okay.
But not the whole, not that thing you do, not the main stuff. No, they were told me, like, we don't care if you can sing or not. We're
Right.
gonna- we're
They've
gonna
got
make
the
it work.
song.
We just want you to learn how all the notes should go, and your instruments. You're going to be able to play them. You're going to be on the right chords, but we won't. We're not going to have your guitar playing on our soundtrack.
Did they do like voice lessons with you? Just
Yeah. I sang at churches.
Oh, did you really?
Yeah, I did. It was awesome, man.
Oh, you grew up Catholic, so did you? Were they
It was
like
different.
Catholic hymns? Or?
They weren't. I went to different churches, and I actually played the guitar and sang with a bunch of other people.
Right.
Was way out of my league. I was scared to death, but that's why I thought that was the best way to go about it. I learned. Vocal teachers were really trying their tails off, but I was told from the beginning, the song is everything. The song is the movie. So we're not hiring you to do anything but act.
Right.
And Tom Hanks saying, after winning 2 Academy Awards, he's like, the only thing you're gonna do is act. I'm like, yeah. I mean, that's the only thing I'm gonna do is
But
act.
don't you think there's something more to it? Because as an actor, you've got to get into a character, right? And singing was not the only thing to being that character. There was a lot of musical type things you had to understand and learn. Like, you're the lead singer. You're the guy kind of pushing, where the band's going. When you see the movie, Shades got in because your original drummer got hurt.
Right.
Right? And he was an older guy that was working at the washer or the Sears factory with his thing. How did you find those other musical moments, knowing that you were an actor, but also knowing you have to know a lot about the music business and the music scene to be that character?
I think I correlated music to art. And I felt that I was working as an artist, like as an actor, as an artist, so that I was fighting for the art, the music. And I knew that was Jimmy's jam, was that he believed in his music so much.
Yeah.
So I fought for
Easy too. I mean, you were a model, right? When you got out of school.
Not really.
Went to school in Baltimore.
I was a good-looking kid.
Yeah,
Wait, what kind of model?
He signed with Wilhelmina. Did he sign with Wilhelmina?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
Second day I moved to Los Angeles.
Yeah. I mean, I would say that's pretty big. You signed with Wilhelmina, and it's a. I mean, what else do you put on your resume for all the women that you've dated and all the? You're like, I'm
Madonna.
a model.
Yeah.
I'm an actor. I was in Poison Ivy 2 with Alyssa Milano, and then I moved over to Tom Hanks, and now I'm an A-lister. This is. I mean, that's a good resume. I mean, you're not dating. You're married to a very beautiful boss lady.
She is a boss lady.
Yeah.
I told you.
The fact that he says it without having.
Oh, but you told him that?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, she's a boss.
Oh my God, that girl's like, talk about entrepreneur. Like, I mean, she's like an influencer.
He's just talking about as a wife.
I know. And my
good track
daughter
record.
at 3 is already bossing me around. She's
She's taking
I'm like,
notes.
Oh God, here I go.
She's taking notes.
But at any moment when you're on set, I know we're going back to the Wonders, and especially when they were doing it, when you were on set with that thing, were you ever intimidated with Tom Hanks, or did he just make you feel comfortable right off the bat?
Oh no, he was incredible. I remember days where I'm moody, and Jimmy was moody, so I
Right.
allowed the moodiness to come.
Right.
He danced across the stage one time, like da 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 da.
Yeah.
And he was like, "Come on, man,
Yeah.
it's all right." Because he knew I was sad about something. I don't know what I was sad about, but he was always like, "Come on." And it was so much fun. We laughed nonstop making that movie. Steve Zahn and Tom Hanks together just was the greatest. I laughed like nobody's business. I had so much fun. It was so hard. No, it wasn't hard. After I got on when we had to perform and Zahn would do his stick.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he is funny, and I had to keep it straight. But I knew that I was the one had to be straight. That kind of like the funny guy and then the
Right.
straight guy. I had to be a straight guy.
Right. Well, you had to be serious. Like, it wasn't just straight. It wasn't just like, okay, look at my funny little friend. It was like, stop doing that.
Yeah.
Was it hard to be handsome,
funny.
like when you were there, just doing the handsome bit and being the guy that's like everyone hates because you're handsome?
Well, I had to get that hairdo in there.
Yeah.
So when I kind of did my research, one thing that Tom Hanks,
Tom Hanks.
he
Woody.
he's very thorough in whatever he's doing. So he sent us everything from the World Series on VHS to commercials to every hit show, everything 1964.
67. Oh, 64.
Oh, right.
64. And he wanted us to learn it so that we had an understanding where we were coming from.
Right.
So when we did that, I kept studying all these musical groups, and I saw that they were very influenced by the Beatles because they were so popular, and they had these haircuts, right? So I wanted my hair, so I kind of did my hair
Is it like
that.
a flop or something,
Yeah,
or
like
what
a
do they
big
call that? Yeah.
flop over.
Yeah.
And I remember sitting in the chair, and I think that the producers were not so into that bowl haircut. They wanted the good-looking guy to be good-looking, and I had the hair, and Tom was sitting next to me, Tom Hanks, and I was just like, "Well, what do you think? Like, I'll change my hair. I don't care. Whatever you want." And he was like, he sat there, he looked in the mirror, looked at the makeup, the hairstylist, and looked. I like it. Good, great.
That was it.
was it.
You didn't need to have anyone else say anything. So when you heard that they were doing the song, did you ever go to any of the shows or concerts and see these guys? So this is
Never went. But my wife, the boss, would love to go.
The boss lady would love to go.
Yeah.
Don't.
So I'm thinking.
Don't.
Okay. So
No.
what?
Just don't.
I'm not. We know we talked about this before. I'm not saying
beaten
anything.
a dead horse
I'm not saying
with-
anything about the band. Anything.
He's been
about,
all weekend trying to get me to spill the beans on anything.
I'm not going to talk about him
About
getting
us
back together with
opening
NSYNC.
for NSYNC, the Wonders opening for
Yeah.
NSYNC.
Oh yeah, wow,
That's a
would
great
that
idea.
be?
Thank you, Chris. Chris, that's the greatest
What are
idea.
you talking about? We can do it. We don't need you.
In a
We can do it
fantasy
live.
in a fantasy world, would you think you can get Steve Vaughn? You can get
Stevie Zahn.
Stevie Zahn.
Vaughn,
and
we
then
get
get
Steve Vaughn easy. Vaughn is.
Vaughn.
you can get
kinda dead.
You
Ah,
get,
yes, he's good.
So that's
you get
tough
Steven
sell.
Zahn. You get Shades. You get Giovanni Ribisi. Wasn't he in that as well? He's the one that broke his arm.
Well, if Tom Everett Scott doesn't want, then we could bring Giovanni Barabisi. He can play drums.
Yeah, play the drums, and then you can bring Tom Hanks in.
He'd be replaced in real life.
Yeah.
You could get Tom Hanks to be there with you, and you guys are opening up for NSYNC. That you heard it here first.
How when you did the movie, how much did it kind of trickle into your real life? Like, how much were you like, man, I feel like a band now? Like, when it came out, were you approached like you were actually in a band? Like, oh man, I love your music, I love what you guys do, or were people pretty? Oh, we love the movie.
Well, they definitely thought I sang in it, and that was kind of like they wanted.
I did.
I totally did.
They wanted to sell
Yeah.
the band, and then Mike Viola, who actually is the vocals, made it a point to get into the press to say that it was his voice, not me.
Oh right.
He was a
just
little
an
butthurt
actor.
over like.
I think he was, but I think he was just trying to get out there.
Right, get your name
It
out.
was an Oscar-nominated film. They wanted us to play at the Oscars. That was a big deal. I remember this, and the band, the guys are always like, "We're not a band. We're not a band.
Yeah.
We're not a band." And I was like,
Well, how
"What
many
do you
weeks
mean
did
we are
you?
a band?"
How many weeks did you guys?
We're the Wonders.
Yeah, well, it's like the Monkees.
Yeah,
It's like
I
the
felt that-
Monkees.
that
They
way.
they were put together for a show, and none of Mickey Dolenz didn't play an instrument. Mickey Dolenz only sang some stuff. They all learned instruments, and then they were like,
On-the-job
"These
training.
songs are huge. You should go as a band." And they're like, "We're not. We're actors. We're a TV show." Like, yeah, but you should go as a band, and they did, and it worked. And
Right.
I bet you if you ask kids today, if the Monkees were a TV show or a band, they would say a band. They wouldn't probably even know they were a
yeah.
TV show.
Those
You
kids
know,
now are like really old.
That was and for me personally, it was really kind of tough because my very first film I ever did was for Franco Zeffirelli, who was a real asshole, and he dubbed my voice in my performance. So my very first lead role was another guy's voice over my face, right? And so it took my voice away. So I knew that I was going to sing in this, and I was completely fine with it until Mike Viola started talking about it in the paper, and then I felt really shitty about myself, and because once again, someone took my voice, but it was still me acting up there, still singing, I quit, but yeah.
Man, so you were so good looking and so bad of an actor.
Yep.
No, so but that was the second time.
Congratulations about your face.
I would think that at a point you'd have to get really, like offended or hurt that, when they were saying you're not singing this when you're filming that thing you do, when they're saying you're not singing this, so now just go out and be a face, and you'd be like, hey, stop taking stuff from me. Like, I can do this stuff. You know what I mean? Like,
But I wasn't a singer,
Right.
so I didn't. I just,
But you can sing.
And Tom Hanks was a 2-time Academy nominated.
I don't think it really matters. It was just a movie.
It was just a movie at that time.
yeah,
Nowadays, I
yeah.
think that they probably would have had my voice,
Right.
Because
Oh, yeah, would've made sure.
have,
For sure.
They could have
For sure.
So, and they did, but it wasn't even a part of the whole. I mean, I can't sing at that level, at that high.
Do you still sing in churches?
I
Karaoke.
think I wound up singing it on stage one time with some friends of mine, and I actually sang it with the Rascal Flatts at a.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, one reason why I'm here in Nashville is there was a charity event And this guy said, I will give the charity $10,000 if you get up there and sing that thing you do.
No way.
Did you do it?
Yeah.
I was like,
$10,000.
yeah.
I mean, like
better
the whole
than
entire thing. Can you remember the song?
I couldn't remember it. It was way after it. And literally, we had and Jada Marcus and John Rooney went up on stage and sang the song with me. And we got $10,000 for the charity.
Did they do the cool harms with you too? The Stevens on harms. You.
Yep.
You love that song. Can you sing? Can you sing it? I know, but can you sing it for us?
No.
Just like a little bit?
No, I didn't. JC was him. But that movie, we all went and saw it when we were coming back from Europe, and we'd go see stupid, like crazy movies together. Anything that was cool, anything that was out, we'd go see together. And we went, all 5 of us, and saw that movie. And laughed so hard because we were like, that is completely us. Like each guy on there was us. And some of them ended up, Shades went on to do his, but that was because you quit. That was because once you quit in the movie, the band was like, well, that was our guy. We have nothing to do. But the personalities of all those guys, nowadays it's a little different. We had Joey as Wolfman because Joey played Wolfman at Universal Studios, and that was the only reason we threw him in. But nowadays, Joey's cracks a lot more jokes, and Joey's funny, and Lance is still, he could go up and join the army at any moment or whatever, and JC is still really serious, and Justin Shades. But at the time we were all freaking out like, oh my God, this is us. And I was just figuring out who I was going to marry, what stripper in Vegas I was going to end up with. Do you have you had other people, like, obviously besides for us, but other even music groups or celebrities come up and they're like, dude, that movie is like, nails it?
The amount of bands that have come up to me from Stephen Stills going, that was my band. That's Buffalo Springfield. And then, yeah. I knew
you're getting better at that, by the way. You're getting better.
Yeah, he said that. He literally was like, "That it's Buffalo Springfield, right?"
Yeah, Buffalo Springfield.
And guys from Journey, Chicago.
Jeez.
I mean, people love that
city,
movie.
Name a country.
Yeah, Richard Marx.
How did you go from Baltimore to Los Angeles? Did you know right away? Because you were going to school in Baltimore, right?
Yeah, I was at University of Maryland.
Ravens or Colts fan?
Ravens.
Okay, I was just making sure because
it broke my heart, man.
Oh, when the Colts left?
Yeah, Mayfair.
Yeah,
drove them away.
Mayfair. That's right. You can still see those buses.
Yeah, I can still see them. I can see them in the snow.
Yeah.
Were your parents like? Because your dad was a cop, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So were your parents like, really? You're going to go to L.A. and this is what you're going to do?
Yeah.
Now they're looking back on. I'm glad he did that.
It was pretty wild. So Richard Marx's song,
"Waiting for You."
I'll be on there.
Right here, waiting for you. Yeah.
I remember hearing that song and just being haunted by that song. Not because I wanted to go find some girl.
Right.
It was that I had something out there that I really wanted to do.
It's
and
like
I didn't know what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah. I told Richard Marx that. We had lunch at the Soho House. And
that's a drop right there.
Richard Marx actually produced one of our songs and wrote one of our songs.
Yeah.
Which one?
Songs. This I Promise You.
Really?
Yep, that was
Oh,
Richard
wow.
Marx.
That's a drop.
I used to call him Sir Richard Marx.
Yeah.
Sir.
It's a great song.
I think. Because you can't call him Dick Marx.
Dick Marx.
He's awesome, man.
He is hilarious.
He is.
I've got an Uncle Dick.
He's got to be on the tour, too.
If he would come out, if we did a tour and he would come out on tour, that would be unbelievable. Because
So we got the Wonders.
Richard Marx.
Wonders Richard Marx. It's called the Sync Wonder Mark Tour.
So that song right here, "Waiting for You," inspired you to leave, to go because you didn't want to be stuck.
I swear to God, I told him that. And I went out there. I literally was. This is why I know. I figured out my life. But so when I was reading textbooks, I had a really hard time because I didn't know at the time, but I was dyslexic. So I would read these hardcore textbooks, and I couldn't retain them. I couldn't do well in school. So much so that my roommate was from Africa. His third or fifth language was English. And I had him read it one time. He was like, yeah, and he told me about it, and I was like, you got that from that textbook. These 2 paragraphs, you were able to retain that. I can't do that. I don't know why. It's like I'm all over the place. So I thought I'm not going to be successful at anything academically like that, even though I was smart. I knew I was very smart. And I took one acting class, and I was like, wow, this is so much easier. And I think I could do it. I've always kind of loved the arts, just always. But my dad was a cop. My mom worked at a giant food store. And I was like, I stand a better chance of going out there trying to be an actor than succeeding with these textbooks.
So you kind of knew that's something that you want. Like acting was in your heart already.
Yep. And I went out there to Los Angeles, and
You have a microphone.
Oh, you can hear me. Oh, it wasn't even up. I was having a conversation. Oh my god!
How do you retain your acting? Like, because you have to memorize tons of lines and stuff. Now, how do you translate that if you've got this dyslexia, or is it different? Is it?
It is different. So the big chunks of like a monologue is really difficult. However,
right.
I used to, and I still kind of do that, but I used to draw everything, like everything that I thought was done. Like you watch my That Thing You Do script.
Yeah.
Like I drew every line, did a whole painting with everything so that I would retain it. So I remember the image and what it meant and felt. So it was kind of like a gift dyslexia is a gift for an actor because they feel the words. They don't just know the words.
Right.
They're just not saying the words. They're living the words.
Now, are you a method, like the type of acting when you do any of the movies, when you did Poison Ivy 2, when you did That Thing You Do, when you did
when you were making out with Alyssa Milano, were you like really? Was that something that you guys had to do prior?
Do you jump into these characters?
We did.
You jump into these characters, and oh, by the way, Alyssa Milano.
Yeah.
You jump into these characters, and you know your day. Like if somebody comes up and talks to you, you're a character. Or do you know how to turn it on and turn it off? Or
I think everyone would say that I was very method in the very beginning of my career. But I really wasn't.
Oh, Houdini.
I worked my tail off. I learned everything I could. After I asked my acting teacher, who I found, his name was Roy London. He died August 8th of 1993. He was an incredible teacher. He taught me the art of living. And I felt like I needed one more chapter, like I needed more.
Yeah,
I wanted more. I wanted more teachers, and they started coming to me. And one was Tom Hanks. So after Tom, took me under his wing, he was like, "You got to study, all the 1964 tapes and learn everything you can. Learn your instrument, learn how to sing, get your hair like it, all those things." I brought that to every role that I played. Because I didn't know any different.
Yeah,
I was like that. Oh, then I hung out with Sean Penn for a while, and so I learned about.
That's a big one.
He really gets in his character, but he doesn't. He like pulls different things, has different images, different things that he's thinking about for each one of his characters, and then he goes out there and performs. But he was Sean Penn before he became that character. So
right.
I learned.
Do you have his number in your phone as Spicoli?
I don't.
Oh,
yeah.
Spicoli, that would have been
a great one.
Now then, Houdini. Do you know everything to know about Houdini? Like, did you research him?
Everything.
Like you know magic?
Out?
Yeah, I knew.
Prove it.
I can't do anything now. It's like giving me a guitar. It's not even open.
No, you're supposed to open it with your brain.
These are. You know card tricks? I mean, it's Houdini.
It's been a long time.
Can you make Chris disappear?
You make my voice disappear.
I had to.
No,
I was like, all right, man.
I would only imagine because in history, he is probably one of the most interesting
showman
people and showman, but like his beliefs, didn't he tell like certain people that I want you to be at this place or do this stuff and I'll come back as a spirit and talk to you, because he wanted to prove all those people wrong, and if they were right, he was going to come back and say, hey, this is what it is.
Yeah, the afterlife.
Yeah.
Once his mother died, he really wanted to be able to talk to her again. And there was a bunch of people back then that claimed to be able to connect to the other side. And he started going to them because he wanted that. And then when he saw them doing his magic tricks,
Right.
he started debunking them because he was like, that's a magic trick, man. You're just fooling people.
And what was to the rumor that he got punched in the stomach or something? Because he used to have an iron stomach or something like that.
He just was the macho man.
Right.
You know, like you could punch him in the stomach as hard as you wanted, and it wouldn't hurt him. It was like one of his things that he did. And some college kid took him up on it, and he wasn't ready. Punched him, and it ruptured one of the intestines or whatever. One of the things that are really important to live. The liver, maybe.
Yeah.
Did you have to get fat for that role because you're obviously ripped?
I literally studied everything, and the one thing I had to do was all the tricks, the stunts.
Yeah.
I had to hang upside down, and I had to bring my head up to my, I had to contort. Mm-hmm. And I started studying Pilates. That's when I got into Pilates.
What did you look up like other magicians like David Blaine or any of those guys?
I talked to. I went to Vegas and I went to Vegas and was with Siegfried and Roy,
Chris Angel,
Lance Burton, and Lance taught me the tricks. Johnny Thompson. And they taught me all the magic tricks, and I just watched them all, watched how they do shows. I learned as much as I possibly could.
Now you can't tell any of those magic tricks, right? Didn't you have to sign? Did you have to sign anything saying you won't ever?
No, there's just a code within magicians that you don't share because it is magic. So
because they said that you went all in doing like with magic and learning all the tricks of the trade. Did you woo your wife like that? Like you had to take some of those things. I'm not kidding. These guys, magicians, get laid.
First of all,
What?
you need to close your mouth.
What happened?
My son wanted to be a magician. He goes, "Hey, Dad, I think I want you to be a magician." I said, "Son, that's the only thing I will not allow you to be."
Why?
And he's like, "Why?" And I said, "Because I want you to have a girlfriend."
That's not true. I mean, you think David Copperfield? I mean, he went out with like a bevy of supermodels. Houdini, I'm sure he had. I mean, you played him, so right?
he was in love with one woman.
One woman.
His whole life, huh?
Beth, I hear you calling.
Beth.
I think it's Beth.
Like who?
I could be wrong.
David Blaine dated a lot of supermodels. So I mean, Uncle Brian might not be wrong here.
What? Are you going to be a magician?
No, I'm talking about like he's talking about your son. He said wanted to be a magician. So
No, that's fine. That's fine. You haven't retained any of those tricks. Like I would have thought there'd be a couple. You'd be like, I've got a few at parties that I like to just throw out for fun, and they're not really tricks, but kids love them.
I know that I can't do it all. Mm-hmm. I've done all that stuff, so whatever's next. Like I have to learn how to clear a room for my role that I'm in now. I have to learn.
Brian is really good at that, by the way.
Clearing a room. Different kind of clearing.
If he were here by himself,
it's totally fine. How did you? Okay, so you went from Baltimore to LA, and then I feel like Nashville's becoming like a mini Hollywood. Like I feel like everyone's moving here, from musicians to actors.
Well, I think the musicians have been coming for years.
Yeah,
musicians.
But I mean, it's like from all.
There's tons
genres.
of actors. Like David Arquette lives up the street from me. Steve Zahn, Stephen Dorff lives.
I was like Stephen
Dorff lives here too.
Dorff, yeah, Stephen Dorff's here.
He left Malibu.
Yeah,
Yeah, he did.
Wow, okay.
Jason Priestley.
yeah.
Are you writing this down? We got to get him on the show. We're name
Kellen
dropping
Lutz.
A lot of
Kellen Lutz.
Kellen Lutz.
Who else is here?
a lot of. How do you love it here
I love it here.
compared to
My wife's from here.
Baltimore, LA?
She married a Southern Belle.
She wouldn't move to Baltimore with me.
Was it the Inner Harbor, or was it like?
I literally wanted to move downtown and renovate as one of the brownstones or brickstones or whatever they have in Baltimore. I thought that would be a great way to raise my kids.
Yeah.
Have them thinking about going to Johns Hopkins.
Yeah, right outside Johns Hopkins is a project for kids who they were going to put different way to teach children how to learn. It was like they would learn lyrics, and then that way they would like school rock.
Right.
Like this school was awesome, and I was really behind it, and I wanted to move with her do that with our child, and she was like, no, we're not moving.
She's like, I'm afraid to go outside.
Yeah, it's like that's not.
Well, speaking of so much Baltimore, I see you're wearing an Orioles hat.
I got my hat on. Yeah,
you're a big Orioles fan, but you're not just an Orioles fan.
Yeah, I'm a fan of many teams, but after that thing you do, Tom Hanks and Gary Getzman, they got a box behind home plate at Dodger Stadium, and since they worked nonstop, I always get tickets. So I became a Dodger fan.
So you take over Tom's seats?
Yeah.
Did you get to take best friends in the whole world, like your best friends?
I did. Yeah. I mean, I was.
You don't when you go back there, you try to get to some of the games.
They always have a seat.
All right, a Dodger dog or a hot dog from Camden.
Dodger dog is pretty.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Yeah. I mean, you
Yeah.
got to, especially if you go to a game, you have to have one. But
Yep.
I would say still to this day, even though it's New Camden Yards, it's the most beautiful park.
It's great.
Yeah.
My son's name is Camden.
Oh, you named your kid? That's like Nash.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Dodgers and Orioles series. Who you pulling for?
The O's.
The Orioles.
You're going for the Birds.
Oh yeah.
But
Why-
the Twins are gonna. It doesn't even matter. Twins will be there. So it'll be like probably
Didn't you
Twins,
throw?
Dodgers.
Didn't you throw out the first pitch for the Orioles?
My son did. I
But
mean,
you were
I've
supposed-
thrown out the first pitch a couple times, and then recently I did an article for my new TV series called Blue Ridge, and it came out, and they saw my son's name was Camden, and they contacted my management and said, "Would Jonathon and Camden like to throw out the first pitch?" And so about 3 weeks ago, I took my son to the ballpark, and we went out there, and he threw the first pitch.
Your new show, Blue Ridge. Talk to us about that. Are you filming in Nashville or are you filming?
We're filming in Charlotte, North Carolina.
Oh, right. So close to home.
Yeah, it's real close. I get to come home on the weekends, which is fantastic.
And you have a very special guest star on your show.
Ethan Embry. Also, Ethan Embry from The Wonders.
But
TB player.
There's also a guy named Joe.
my father, Joe Schaech. I play
got dad?
I play a cop. My father was a Baltimore City cop.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
in the series, I play a sheriff, and the role came up that I just was like, my dad could do that. He's been.
Is that just like a full circle moment?
It was a full circle moment. I'm literally become my father.
Do you have a mustache on when you're filming?
I should have. I thought about doing
Creepy
that.
cop mustache.
But my mustache is too thick, and I may be able to pull off the Tom Selleck thing in time, but I get a little
Yeah.
more wrinkles, I think.
If that ever comes back,
Yeah.
which it will.
But then you have to keep the mustache. If you can pull off Tom Selleck, you have to keep the mustache.
Yeah, if I can make a living off of that mustache, like
He
Right?
did.
yeah,
Well, he shaved
do
it
it.
when
Well, I
he
was
went
gonna
on
say when
Friends.
he-
It was like the worst thing ever.
But no, he shaved it on Blue Bloods, or what is he on?
he's got a mustache and blue
What show
bloods.
is he on now? Tom Selleck?
Tom Selleck.
Blue Bloods.
Ladies and gentlemen, women of a certain age.
Oh, yeah, woman of a certain age.
Monta.
Yeah, well, he shaved it on there, and it's odd. It's just like, you know who
I
it is,
think
too?
he has it in that. No,
Does he? He might have grew it back. I know
just
he
remember
had
he
it gone
shaved
for a
it.
while.
it's only been on 16 years. So.
Yeah, so one of those
One of
years.
those
or
years
something.
he's had it,
That's
one of those
like John Oates.
Oh, shaving off his mustache?
John Oates shaving off his mustache. You're like,
wouldn't know. Who
Oh, I mean,
who's that guy?
what even with like Bon Jovi when he cut his hair? Remember when he just had all the hair? Yeah. That
What about me when I cut my braids?
Oh my God, that was
Epic.
Chris Kirkpatrick and braids.
Epic.
Me and the frosted tips. Yeah.
Epic.
Yeah, those were some good
So
hair.
you've got this new show that hopefully we'll be able to talk about. What else? What else are you up to? What else is going on in your life? Family, big dad.
Did your dad have a big role in the show?
He's got a very. It's a small role. Like he says a couple lines that he had on his hand.
So
And then we took his glasses away, and he couldn't even read his lines.
So he's
But
a
he
member
knew it by then.
He's a member of SAG and AFTRA.
He's not actually.
Oh, he's
'cause
not?
Yeah, so he didn't have to join because it was just one line.
So he can come on the show and
Isn't
talk
that
about it.
isn't that what they said that Coach used to do on Cheers?
he did. He used to,
Cheers coach used to have his lines on his hand, or he'd have it sporadically placed around the bar
God, he was a great character.
so he could read it because they just wanted him on the show.
I have been in scenes with Harvey Keitel. Had all his.
Oh wow, that's how many name drops have you had
You know,
already?
like he would
amazing.
read
Yeah.
his. They had cue cards. They were holding cue cards. They had monologue. I don't blame him. And then Bruce Willis. Just like I found myself like watching Bruce and then looking over and reading his line.
That's why actors, when somebody's talking, start going.
How many?
Jonathan, you're mouthing his lines.
I
If
looked
you
over,
could-
and
if you
one
could
time I looked at his lines. I was like reading his lines. I looked back, and he's staring at me. He was giving me that Bruce Willis look.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh.
Yeah.
Who was the most intimidating person that you were across from in a scene that you were like, I can't fuck this up?
Do you ever get intimidated, or are you confident enough that?
I'm definitely confident enough as an
Yeah.
actor. I think only place I'm really confident in life is when the camera's rolling on scenes. Like I'm ready.
Okay, who was it? So far you name dropped some pretty good ones, like Harvey Keitel.
Kenneth Branagh I put up my game. I was like, yeah, see what he comes up.
Did
He's
you act
awesome.
with Sean Penn, or just friends with Sean Penn?
You know, Sean Penn called me up to do a reading of a script that he wanted, and I did the reading. I did the reading with Warren Beatty.
Oh wow,
It was me and Warren Beatty.
that might be the best name drop we've had today.
I know. It's like, every time I tell these stories, I'm like, I can't believe I lived that
So
life.
Warren Beatty, okay,
Yeah.
what was it? Dick Tracy too.
It was called Question. It was Question of Mercy. It was about a young Colombian who was dying of AIDS during that time, and he asked the doctor to help him commit suicide, and the doctor was Warren Beatty, directed by Sean Penn.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did you do it?
I did the play. I wound up.
Oh my
doing
God,
the play.
you did the play. Yeah, that's
I
right.
did the
Yeah,
play.
yeah.
So
I went and did the
was
play.
that?
Did you have to go get AIDS? No, he's a method actor. You don't know. I mean,
I did drop like
Matthew McConaughey
45
did.
pounds, so I
Yeah.
was emaciated. You know,
Did you go to Tom for that too? Because didn't
I know
you do that
he
in
did
Philadelphia?
Philadelphia. Wow, didn't think about that.
What? That would have been my first call. I'd been like, the only person I can remember is Tom Hanks.
He visibly got pissed. He's like, what?
Why didn't I
could have
do
did
that?
the movie.
Son of a!
I didn't think
You didn't even come to us to help you sing for that thing you do. What the hell?
But isn't that crazy? Like you're at that point in your life now where you're a family man. You got your beautiful wife. You got your amazing kids, 10 and 3, and you get to like hang out with NSYNC's Chris Kirkpatrick. And you guys,
we saw each other at Josh Wolf
Josh Wolf. Oh, that's a good one.
at his comedy.
And I looked it over and I was like, is that Jonathan? I'm like, no.
And I can't see anymore. I can't see.
No.
but are you wearing glasses? Have you succumbed to the pressures of glasses?
No,
I did that.
I actually think I tell the truth. I think I walked over to Josh. I said, "Is that Jonathan?" He goes, "Yeah." I was like, "I know him.
Yeah.
I met him.
Yeah.
I didn't know him. I met him. We've become acquaintances. We're friends."
Well, I'm glad you did because he wouldn't have come on the show otherwise.
Thank God.
That Brian McFayden's calling again.
Doesn't he know TRL is done?
What the fuck is TRL?
Dude, TRL has ended like years
forever
ago.
forever and a day ago. But dude, I can't thank you enough for coming on.
Yeah,
I
we
really
appreciate having you.
Thank you for like name dropping just about. Dude, Is
Yeah.
there anybody else that you want to name drop outside of
That was-
Warren Beatty, Harvey Keitel, Tom Hanks?
Sean Penn.
Probably the biggest one you name dropped so far is Alyssa Milano.
Sean Penn.
Sean
Well,
Penn.
you just keep talking about Alyssa Milano
I
because
just watched Poison Ivy 2 right before Jonathan came here.
to see her boobs.
Kind of. I mean, does that make me pervy?
Bleach my hair blonde.
Yeah, you did. It was 1996. It was like the first.
You started that.
You started
You
Frosted
heat
Tips.
Frosted Tips.
You
I don't
started
know
Frosted
why
Tips.
I did that.
Yeah, because everybody was doing it.
I think maybe
No,
because
no one was doing it at the time. He was like,
No, that's what I'm saying. Well,
Yeah,
everybody
yeah.
did it after you did it.
I didn't frost my tips until 97. So you might be the trendsetter.
You're the original. But that was the Bleach. That was the
Yeah, it was-
Eminem.
it's like the
That was
orangish
the
color.
Justin Timberlake.
yeah.
That was the bleach blonde, yellow hair. That was like, I think Dennis Rodman maybe have started that.
Oh, he had all the colors.
He had
in
every
there.
color.
Wait, we just said Dennis Rodman.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And we said Justin Timberlake. And we said someone else.
In
Eminem.
honor of the Wanderers and that thing you do, I think we would be honored if you could sing our
Sing
theme
name
song.
drop.
What is
It's just 2 notes.
It's 2 notes.
name drop. No, don't.
Name drop.
Wait, hang on.
Oh, I can't hit that.
We have a pitch pipe.
I
Ready?
don't think this is the
On-
tone we're using either.
Wait,
You're
hang on.
like in the middle.
Oh, yeah.
Why is yours crappy?
Because that's that. Oh.
Name drop.
Just name drop.
Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Name drop. Hey,
That was
You
like
were
2 days in a row.
almost on that time.
Oh my god. Okay.
he is absolutely horrible.
Horrible singer.
He is horrible.
He's been teaching me, and we got the pitch pipe to get everything down. So 1, 2, 3.
Name drop. Yeah. We got a group here.
Jonathan Schaech.
Let's start it.
Dude, thank you, man, so
Thanks,
much.
brother.
Appreciate
yeah.
you.
Good seeing you.
Good luck in the playoffs.
They'll be there. Name drop. Yeah.